What is going on, guys? Welcome to Extreme Daily Drivers. It's Toaster Tuesday. I'm Brandon, and you know what we're doing today. We're working on the box like we do every single Tuesday. Today is all about going hella flush, man. At least doing the best we can to get this wheel and tire set up, get the fitment perfect. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing some extended wheel studs so that we can put some spacers on these front wheels and get it as flush to the fender as we can. So here's our current situation. We got our 7.5 inch wheels with our plus 35 offset, and we don't fit perfectly flush here in the front. I've kind of messed around with it. I've tried to get it as perfect as I can, but you can see here there's still a lot of room in there. I can move my fingers back and forth inside this fender, and we want to get this wheel as flush to the end of the fender as we can and do it safely. Another thing we're going to be tackling in today's video is what you see right here. We got a metal fender and we got a plastic bumper, and these guys, even though they're zip tied under here, they don't like to fit perfectly anymore. So I got some brackets from Randy Randode, and we're going to go ahead and install those later in the video. So these are the wheel studs that I got off of eBay. They were $18 shipped. Just search on 2004 to 2006 Scion XB. You'll find yourself some. These are 50 millimeter. Stock are 43, I believe. So these are an additional at least 15 millimeter over what stock is. This will allow us to run some spacers up front safely without having to worry about our lug nuts falling off. So the first thing we're going to do is jack up the car, get the wheel off, and we're also going to remove the brake caliper as well as the rotor. Now I'm going to be doing a brake upgrade here in the next couple weeks, maybe even the next video after this, I'm not sure yet. So when I do that video, I'll show you in depth on how to actually take all this stuff apart. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and do it off camera. Alright guys, got the brake rotor off and the caliper. Now before we start wailing away on these wheel studs, we got to remove this dust shield, at least loosen it up. Now they have some scary torque spits looking to them. There are 3 of these things, but they're actually 10 millimeter, and you can get them off with one of these guys at a crazy angle to get them started, and then you can go ahead and get them with just a regular box wrench. Alright, so now we got this stupid dust shield loosened up here. It gives us the flexibility to move it around, make things a little bit easier when getting these wheel studs off. There is a little cutout, I hope you can see that right there. That's supposed to be so you can line it up and knock the wheel stud out behind it, but in my experience on the other side, man, that just didn't work. It was fighting me the whole time, and that's why I went ahead and loosened this thing up to give me a little bit more leeway to get these old wheel studs out. Alright, now comes for the fun part, or the scary part, however you want to look at it, but what you want to do is find yourself an old steel lug nut. Don't you want to use aluminum, use steel. Put it on backwards, alright, and you don't want to put it on all the way, just put it on kind of like 80% on. Alright, so now we're going to whale away with a hammer and knock this wheel stud through the hub. Alright, we got it. She's loose. Take the lug nut off, and now you can wrestle the old stud out. And this is where this silly little it's kind of hard to do one-handed, but this is where this silly little dust shield gets annoying. Alright, we got all 4 out, and here are the new and here are the old. You can see they're significantly longer than the old ones. Another reason why you want to loosen the dust shield up, because again, since they're longer, you got to mess with them a little bit to get them in straight. So let's go ahead and get one of these things mounted on the hub. Alright, this is super important, so I want you guys to pay attention. You'll notice here that the wheel stud is in front of this stupid dust shield, okay? This is super important because if it's not, you can wind up clamping your dust shield between the back of your wheel stud and your hub. Don't ask me how I know this. It can happen, okay? So again, super important that you're way past this stupid dust shield. So once you are, you want to kind of line this up inside of the hub as best you can. Now there are these little spindles, or whatever you want to call them, these little guys here, these little helpers, and they fit into the back of the hub a certain way. So what I do is I kind of line it up as much as I can, and then I run a lug nut down to kind of pull it tight a little bit and to hold it into place. Alright, so like I said, I spun a lug nut down there. I gave it a little turn with a wrench to kind of pull this guy into place so I can check to make sure that it's centered. And as I rotate around here, you can see it's still pulled in a great deal. Now, that's why we got an impact wrench. All right, so we have here my little Harbor Freight impact gun that I got like, God, 10 years ago. Now, I think I got it for 40 bucks. They still make this thing, they still sell it, and it is just an absolute lifesaver. If you don't have one of these things, man, you're missing out. Go get yourself one of their like coupons. Pick this thing up for 40 bucks. It makes life so much easier for things just like what we're doing here. So, got the impact gun here. I got a, what is this, 16th, 13th, 16th socket? I don't know. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take a socket and slide it over onto the wheel stud. All right, and then we are going to take a lug nut and spin it on. All right, make sure that thing's on there nice. And now we're gonna take our impact and we're going to tighten this lug nut. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull the back of the wheel stud into the hub. And just like that, this sucker is on there. You can see there's no room back there. I can't get my fingernail between the hub and the wheel stud. That to me means that sucker is on there. And it really wasn't that hard. Again, I don't know how you would do this if you didn't have one of these guys. So let me finish up getting the rest on. Alright guys, so you're probably at this point right now saying to yourself, why do I need to do this? What is the benefit? Why is he doing all this hard work? Well, let me tell you why I'm doing it. Alright, we got some wheel spacers here. I got a 3mm that I got off of eBay, and I have a 5mm that I probably got off eBay like 10 years ago. I can't even remember. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack these guys up, and that should give me a nice 8mm space to kick my wheels out to make them look even with the fenders, which is what we're after. So this is a hub-centric spacer, slides right on, and the 5mm goes on. As you can see, it's kind of a universal fit. You have to figure out which one's the right one. Boom, slides right over that, and then we go ahead and install our wheel. All right guys, I got the wheel on here. I'm just holding it with my foot, but I want you to see just how extended these wheel studs really are. I mean, they make an enormous difference. You want to talk about getting some bite on your lug nuts, man. That is a serious improvement. So even with that 8mm spacer on there, man, these things are biting big time now. We don't have to worry about our wheel falling off anymore with these aftermarket wheels, because these things are going to be on there tight. All right, now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. What do you think of that, huh? That's a nice improvement. I love it. I don't think it's going to be an issue rubbing. I think it just actually might be perfect. Awesome. Let's take it for a test drive and see if we got rubbing issues. All right guys, so test drive went really well. I do scrape a little bit in the front, but it's very, very minor, and I scrape a tiny bit in the back with 3mm wheel spacers on there. So let me give you a really good kind of look. And again, I'm sorry if the lighting isn't great or perfect or whatever, but you get an idea here of where we're sitting in the front. And again, we are scraping just a little bit here. And the back, I'll walk back here so you get a good look at it. The back I'm pretty happy with. Now my idea for the back is I am going to space these out a little bit more. I'm actually going to space them out at the hub, and I'm going to add a little bit of negative camber back here as well. I'm not going to make a video on how to do that. I'm just going to kind of do it off camera. If you guys have questions on how to do it, hit me up in the comments and I'll tell you how I'm going to make it happen. But so far, the only negative that I can find with these extended wheel studs are the fact that on my fancy dancy lug nuts, I can no longer use these guys. All right, so the lug nuts are so extended, even with the spacers, that these don't thread in. They just bottom out on the wheel studs. So the way I'm going to get around that is I'm actually going to hack them up. So I have a couple left over here, and you can see how there's kind of an extension there of kind of nonsense metal. So I'm going to grind that off, and that should give me enough room to put my little piece on here and finish up my lug nuts. So that again I also will do off camera, and I'll let you know how it goes in the next video. But now, as promised, we are going to install the little Randoed fender bumper metal bracket thing that he sells. Randy Randoed has been in the XP game longer than I have, The guy's been a huge contributor to the XB community. So if you need some of these, hit him up. Randode West, I believe his name is, on Facebook. I think it's the easiest way to get in contact with him. He is in all of the Facebook community groups. So look for him, you'll find him, and he'll be happy to sell you these. 25 bucks shipped. And they solve this issue here. Now I got this zip tied, but believe me, it gets off center here all the time, and it's just kind of an ugly look. It's really bad on the other side, but we're gonna fix this today with his little bracket. So pretty cool design. You got a right and a left. Just gonna take this, slide it underneath your bumper and underneath your fender, line up the holes and install the hardware. There you have it, installed. And look at this, huh? Nice and flush, it's not flexing, it's not going anywhere, it fits perfect. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe. Another Toaster Tuesday in the books. Next week, I really think we're going to do brakes. I really think we are. I'm waiting for one piece to come in the mail, and then we'll be good to go. So, exciting news too. I'm getting some vinyl work done to the car this week as well. I'm not going to film it, but I will be debuting it kind of in next week's video, as well as on Instagram even sooner than that. So make sure you follow me on Instagram, Extreme Daily Drivers. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.